South Africans know the meaning of challenge, struggle, and the euphoria of victory. As a major contributor to our country's economy, Airports Company South Africa embraces the core values of what it means to be a South African. In the past year, the company has invested over 40 million rands on various socio-economic development projects in historically disadvantaged communities. Creating meaningful and sustainable livelihoods near our airports is the cornerstone of Airports Company South Africa's socio-economic development strategy. Our SED strategy fulfills the DTI's codes of good practice and aligns with the policies and programs in the National Development Plan. Focusing on education, youth empowerment, women empowerment, persons with disabilities, environmental sustainability, employee volunteerism, and philanthropic donations, we open up possibilities for previously disadvantaged communities around our country. The company's women empowerment programs focus on capacity building and revenue generation projects. To empower youth, the business identifies skills development opportunities that help decrease youth unemployment. The company gives priority to helping persons with disabilities integrate into society. To improve the quality and access to education, our educational projects have focused on upskilling teachers, creating conducive learning environments, providing resources and infrastructure, and supporting effective school management.
One of the strategic objectives is to make sure that we develop airports. But I think we can appreciate that we can never develop airports without developing the broader society, more specifically communities within which our airports are located.
Poverty alleviation and improving the standards of education gives flight to dreams. By positively impacting needy communities with life-changing initiatives, Airports Company South Africa is committed to helping create meaningful and sustainable livelihoods. Come fly with us on a journey where dreams were once impossible. As the gateway to Southern Africa and our largest airport, OR Tambo International initiated a number of socio-economic development projects to improve the standard of education around the airport. KwaDukuthole Secondary in Ekurhuleni was identified as a school needing special attention. It had the worst grade 12 results amongst all schools in the region.
Last year, the school came as number last on the results of the matric.
Airports Company South Africa introduced a learner and teacher development program to turn the situation around. The Teacher Development Program was introduced to ensure educator performance met the learners' needs.
The school is coming from a very low performance, from 41%. But since the project has arrived, we have seen a huge impact, very positive impact.
Weekend and holiday classes were started and soon fully attended. With suitable tools in place, the attitude of the learners improved, and so far the results have been remarkable.
In view of the impact that this project has put us, we in March we were at 84%. This school has never achieved less than 80% in the previous 3 years.
The success of the Learner and Teacher Development Program has motivated Airports Company South Africa to introduce similar programs to schools in the Eastern Cape as well. Another Ekurhuleni school that benefited from AXA's Learner and Teacher Development Program is Tsakani Extension 8 High School. The learner performance in grade 12, maths and science was bad, at less than 50%.
I was underperforming and things were not really going very well, especially when it comes to physics and maths.
Once the program was introduced, slowly the poor marks were reversed. In addition to the program, a science lab, library and computer center were also donated to give the teachers a practical way of teaching.
Since the laboratories came in our school, it has improved the physical science results. We are now at about 90%. Our learners are so excited. Our learners are more enthusiastic. They want to do more. They want to learn more. They want to touch and learn new things.
After our project was introduced, then I started picking up. I started doing well at school. I started realizing that I can actually do it with the help of our project.
These learners relate very well with these young educators, and that gave me satisfaction. And I said to myself, now I think we're on the right track.
Airports all over the world need to be vigilant about birds near the runways. OR Tambo has an ongoing program to control birds to prevent collisions with aircraft. As an extension of the project, Airports Company South Africa, in conjunction with BirdLife South Africa, initiated a wildlife program to train young people from disadvantaged backgrounds as wildlife officers. The course was also aimed at assisting women break into the male-dominated industry.
From no background of the bush, and my city girl, we had to start from scratch to learn the birds, to learn the places and the language that is being spoken here.
This program does not only teach us about animals or being a guide, but it also teaches ourselves about how to manage your finances, how to run a business, and also how to, the ethics of being a guide, how to be true to yourself.
The wildlife officers did their in-service training in Limpopo province. The wildlife officers received a Field Guides Association accredited NQF Level 4 qualification. They're now registered with the Department of Environmental Affairs and Tourism as formal tour guides.
It has really boosted my confidence level and my communication skills. They're being better every day, and I get to learn other languages.
I never thought that I'll be sitting in a table hosting a CEO of Heineken in Netherlands, and it happened, and we had much fun. It was lovely with his family.
By positively impacting people in needy communities with life-changing initiatives, Airports Company South Africa is committed to helping create meaningful and sustainable livelihoods. Many communities around our airports have challenges, and especially so when it comes to preschool children. Parents are often torn between leaving their children with grandparents or relatives to go to work or look for work. This includes leaving the children with unqualified early childhood development practitioners. OR Tambo International Airport and UNISA teamed up to support self-employed early childhood practitioners on the East Rand with new skills. In order to achieve quality outcomes for very young children, it is essential for practitioners to be professionalized. The program in early learning support for birth to 5 is an NQF Level 5 one-year course. The program is designed to address early care and education with a focus on the implementation of the National Curriculum Framework for birth to 4 years.
We are very blessed to have the partnership with Airports Company South Africa, which aims to build their knowledge, their skills, their professional disposition, their values in working with babies, toddlers, and young children.
Studying through UNISA has given them an NQF level certificate that will make them employable in the field anywhere in South Africa.
I've been in teaching for 5 years, and I've done short courses, but I was unable to go further with my education. So I grabbed this opportunity with both hands, and I thank AXA for giving us this huge opportunity in our lifetime.
After a year of hard work, the practitioners received their certificates during a special award ceremony held at UNISA.
God bless you, AXA and UNISA. It was not an easy journey, but through you, we have made it. I salute you all, my fellow students. To be the top dogs isn't just a game. The game changers.
For the past decade, Port Elizabeth Airport have been involved in a project that truly changes lives. The project started when then President Nelson Mandela was asked for help by a young girl who had a facial deformity. Her request led to the creation of the Smile Foundation, and since then, Port Elizabeth International, George Kimberley and Bram Fisher International Airports have been supporting the Smile Week program to provide facial reconstructive surgeries for 110 needy children. During Smile Week, surgeons do operations on 25 to 30 children. And not only does this help with physical appearance, it also helps with the psychological well-being of the children.
He started going to big school, and then he came back, kids teasing him, saying you have 12 years, and so yeah.
It's one thing to sit in an office behind the desk and sign off the funding to the beneficiary organization. But it's a completely different experience to see where that money ultimately goes, to see the lives that it changes. I think this is one of the most impactful investments that we as AXA make to ordinary South Africans.
Junior Davies came to the attention of the provincial hospital surgeons shortly after his birth in 2012. He had both a cleft lip and cleft palate, birth defects in which the lip and mouth do not form properly during pregnancy.
The first place I felt like I did something wrong. I'm the cause that Junior is born like that. And I even blame his father too, because I said there's no child like this in our family. Maybe in your family. Then he said no, there's no child like this in his family too. So I was blaming him too about Junior's condition.
Junior had to be fed with a special bottle until his lip was repaired at the age of 7 months. A few months later, his cleft palate was fixed. Since then, he has been overseen by the Smile Foundation's ear, nose and throat specialists, a psychologist and the Cleft Support Group. He also went on to speech therapy, sponsored by Port Elizabeth Airport.
I don't know how I was going to be able to cope with that situation. Because of financial constraints, I was not going to be able to pay any hospital for what the AXA as well as Smile Foundation have played. I thank them.
During Smile Week last year, Junior had another op to improve the look of his nose. His confidence has improved to the extent that he now serves in his church. He is also an enthusiastic athlete with a dream to one day become a doctor and help other children with facial deformities.
Looks perfect now because Junior is gonna be a doctor just like Dr. Van der Waal. He's gonna learn and be a great doctor just like them. And he's gonna help children that are just like you, that are born like you.
Another project Port Elizabeth Airport undertook focused on Walmer Primary School, close to the airport. The school is located in an area of shacks and RDP houses in which unemployment and poverty are rife. Overcrowding was the school's biggest headache.
We had a lot of problems regarding the overcrowding in classes. It was impossible for me to sit like you, as I'm sitting now, and also move in between the kids, move around the classroom.
If you can look at the registers, you'll find that we've got 54, 55 learners in one class. It was a mess when it comes to that grade R class because they were using one of the admin block office.
3 fully furnished prefab classrooms, each with water tanks alongside, were handed over. The tanks were provided to help with rainwater harvesting to address the water shortages in the school.
I have a massive space now. We've been interacting greatly. You know, it's easy for them to sit in front of me in a carpet, and then we can do story time, you know, storytelling. We're actually grateful for AXA to come on board in helping us.
In recent years, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of woman-headed households. Many of these women are unskilled, so their opportunities for generating income are extremely limited. In an effort to assist with poverty alleviation, the Upington International Airport chose a skills development program for 15 unemployed women from Upington to be trained as firefighters. Selected from over 200 applicants, they would go through an intensive training course.
We are grooming you to be the best firefighters in the world. Once you've completed that, you will then be issued with an internationally accredited training qualification. That allows you to work anywhere in the world.
One of the lucky women was Clarissa Julies. As a single parent still living with her mother and struggling to make ends meet, the firefighter program promised to open doors she could only dream of.
This is what I do on a daily, not a daily basis, but say every 2 to 3 days. I normally charge 200 Rand per head. So it usually goes, it's not that much because it usually goes for electricity or bread or something that's short in the house.
And I was so glad. I was the whole day. I cry before the Lord and say thank you.
We're living like day to day. If there's an income today, we take that for food and electricity. So it's just like that.
The program was hosted at an internationally renowned training center in Greytown, KwaZulu-Natal. It was to be a brutal 4 months for the woman.
When I first came here, I found these exercises very, very hard. I even cried the first day, wanted to go home. But then one of the instructors talked to me and said, nothing here is like go easily. First of all, you have to go through a process where you get to the promised land.
The training involved learning firefighting skills, first aid, emergency response procedures, and lots of physical fitness training.
Firefighting is a very male-dominant job. I carry like a lot of heavy equipment. I do male stuff. So yeah, I am now a male in a female body, I'd say.
After 4 months of hard work, a proud group of successful young women were presented with internationally recognized certificates from the South African Emergency Services Institute. These were their passports from the clutches of poverty.
I am so proud to see such young South Africans right now, this morning. I would like to wish you all the best with your future endeavors, each and every one of you.
Some of these young women have since been deployed at Kimberley Airport.
I risked my life to save another life. So, regards to firefighting, power to the woman.
Like they say, watinto mbafazi, watinto mbokoto. You strike a woman, you strike a rock.
Kimberley Airport also found local projects to get involved in. Floors High School in Kimberley asked Airports Company South Africa for assistance with IT equipment. As a technical school in the impoverished Colville community, they were having difficulty teaching engineering skills without the appropriate equipment.
It was important to get new ways of teaching and new ways of learning, something that the children would grasp and that they would accept. If only one learner could take that opportunity, it could have an influence on the lives of so many other people. We are truly grateful.
Through Kimberley Airport, the company stepped in with donations of laptops for the teachers, visualizers, projectors and multi-touch interactive whiteboards for the classrooms.
So this I would actually just come in the class, sketch the graph faster than he would, and would do so much more in the period than we would before the whiteboards were implemented.
To ensure the donation had an impact on learning outcomes, the teachers all underwent training in the use of the equipment.
We are an underperforming school in maths and science, and in all our maths and science classes we now have this new technology. This donation from AXA will really change our school for the better.
Mantlakitso Primary School near Hartwater in the Northern Cape was identified for special attention. This is a quartile 2 school in a poverty-stricken area with very low literacy rates and high unemployment. The company supplied the school with a mobile library fully equipped with books and computers loaded with curriculum-based software.
We have learners who cannot read fluently or write constructively, even in their mother languages. So this project is really going to help.
I'm so excited to have this library because my learners are going to be the best learners out of this world.
To ensure that the new materials and equipment were put to good use, the teachers underwent a computer training program to help them with much needed computer skills. Enthusiasm for the promise of better education rang out loud at the handover ceremony. A few kilometers further to the south, near Kimberley, is Riverton Primary School. Situated almost on the banks of the Vaal River, the school ironically had intermittent running water due to municipal water supply challenges. This caused problems not only for clean drinking water, but also for sanitation. Teachers were forced to sometimes bring water to school in buckets for the children.
Many times we have these water shutdowns, and when the water is close, it's a real struggle. Having children in the school, when the toilets need water, the children need to drink water.
The company provided water tanks and connected them to the municipal supply to assist. The availability of running water has not only assisted the school, but has inspired some villages to also start market gardens.
So the water tanks are now assisting not only the school, but the community as a whole.
Our newest airport, King Shaka International, worked on a number of projects in their neighbourhood last year, whilst also having fun. Nkosi Bomvu Secondary School lies about 20 minutes north of the airport in Tongaat's Hambonati Township.
Since the time when the textile industry around Tongaat closed down and also the sugar industry scaled down, so the school is situated in an area regarded as impoverished.
The high level of unemployment here means many learners come from homes in which there is no income, so the school has had to take proactive measures to help.
The situation at home makes it difficult for them to study. Hence, we open opportunities for them to study at school in the evenings.
The evening study sessions help learners complete their homework free of the pressures they're under at home. But something was still amiss. So Airports Company South Africa came on board.
The thing that drives us at AXA is to uplift communities, and there's certain ways you do it, through health, education, to mobility. This drive is about education.
A classroom was set aside and converted into a science lab.
This is the state-of-the-art science lab. I'm sure even if you visit your neighboring schools, you will not find a science lab that looks like this.
This is a facility that will open doors for these learners in the future.
I used to explain some of the things, it was abstract to them, but now they can see Now, even if I can say they talk about a certain apparatus, they can see the apparatus.
Science lab of this nature, state-of-the-art science lab, the results are going to improve.
Sengizounderstandeka yonke into sizoba bright into sengizoyibona ngehlo elangempela ukuthi lokho ngiyacabanga futhi ibe nokuyiphikisa.
To AXA, we want to say we thank you for everything. This is phenomenal. This makes our life more easier.
Airports Company South Africa aims to help create a conducive learning environment for learners in disadvantaged communities. Recently, the company through King Shaka International Airport donated ablution facilities to Machiamahle Secondary and Maguyana Primary after the old facilities were identified as needing urgent intervention. The learners at Machiamahle Secondary had to use aging infrastructure which posed a health risk for the children at the school.
Every day coming to work and thinking of those toilets and, you know, infections and stuff, it was horrible.
The company stepped in and built new flushing toilets for the learners and the teachers. Running water was supplied from a borehole fitted with a new pump.
We have lived with those pig toilets for years, and thanks to AXA for their huge donation, now we are proud owners of flushable toilets.
To add to the contribution, the company refurbished the school's science laboratory. This intervention will help improve learning among students who in the past have had to use their imagination instead of doing experiments. Maguyana Primary was originally built by a farmer for his workers before it was donated to the Department of Basic Education. At this school, a new block of toilets was constructed for the young learners with water supplied via a water harvesting tank. For the foundation phase at the school, the company donated a jungle gym.
Before the donation, learners used to share, both genders used to share one set of toilet.
The provision of proper sanitation infrastructure in schools has become more of a necessity now than ever before, as proper hygiene has been a priority with the current COVID-19 epidemic.
Thank you, Good Airport Company South Africa, for usenzela ama-toilet.
Airports Company South Africa's contributions at these schools will go a long way in creating a favourable environment for teaching and learning. A piece of unused land containing an old rundown building were the catalysts for King Shaka International Airport's largest socio-economic development project. Nombuso Disabled Care Centre was started in Mrs. Kumalo's garage at home in 2013. 3 years later, with the number of children with disabilities increasing, the school was moved into the dilapidated building.
And that time, the center was very, very in a bad condition. That was an old center that was left, and it was very, very bad.
When King Shaka Airport heard that there were further children waiting to get into the school, they stepped in to help. A team was appointed to build new classrooms and upgrade the old building. Sports facilities, classrooms, a computer lab, admin block, sick bays and kitchen facilities were built. The school can now accommodate up to 100 children with physical or intellectual disabilities.
Nokuthi ngaphansi kwesimo somntanami indlela akhubazeke ngakhona uyawa unama-feet. Uma ngibuka isimo so sesikole indlela uAXA asenze ngakhona ngibona kumfane engena khaca.
Nathi sabasebenza akukho esitholayo, siyavuka ekseni asitholi lutho, kodwa ke ngoba sinothando lomsebenzi esiwenzayo siyathemba ukuthi inqubela phambili ikhona.
Abazali ngicela bangayifihli ingane ngoba kuyenze ukuthi uthi ufihla umntwana kanti umfihla unetalente elikhulu abekelwe lona, ngoba ngiyokwazi kwami ukuthi umuntu ekhona emhlabeni usuke nokuthila adalelwe kona. So akusikho isidingo sokuthi umzali ayifihle ingane, iveze ingane yakho kunokuthile esuke iphathiswe kona ezoyenza ukuthi nayo izizwe ibalekile nokuba khona kwayo emhlabeni.
The caregivers who previously had no training with disabilities underwent courses through the Department of Social Development.
Abantwana babazali abebe bejabula nathi futhi basebenzisa ijabula uma sayibona inqubekela phambili futhi ngicabanga ukuthi nomphakathi waSonkombo usenhlanhleni ukuthola ithuba njengaleli.
Each and every day kunento abathile abaphuma beyiphethe noma abayifundayo.
The concern of one woman for children with disabilities has now grown into a major centre serving an entire region. Parents who had been hiding their children at home due to social stigma have now registered their children at the school.
Ngiyawubona umehluko ngoba nje usiyakwazi ukubhala inhlamvu ABCD azagcine ku-Z abhale igama lakhe isibongo sakhe noma kuba khona ukudideka baxova amagama kodwa sekuyacaca futhi ngiyabonga kakhulu ngiyeni.
The centre has now been registered and is supported by both the Departments of Social Development and Basic Education.
This particular project for us is truly amazing because it has a huge impact not only on the disabled children of the community, but the community as a whole.
In keeping with its long tradition of supporting education amongst local communities, King Shaka International Airport also identified Sarasvati Primary as a school that needed assistance to improve its standard of education. The school was in desperate need of computer facilities to enhance their teaching programs. King Shaka International Airport came in with a donation of mobile computer labs, consisting of secure, theft-proof cabinets which contain 40 tablets and a teacher's laptop. An offline server supplies educational content.
So before, maths without tablets was like just boring and not interesting, but now we were doing maths and I have seen many of them trying hard to get those answers on their own, not depending on the teachers.
I feel very happy because it's teaching us a lot about maths and other things. This is a information
AXA has a strategy to look at education as being one of its major pillars in its socio-economic development program. And understanding the needs of this country and where we require the inputs, I think this project really speaks to all of that.
This year, George Airport focused on a project for 15 unemployed elderly women in Tembeletu Township near the airport. The women, who are mostly the primary breadwinners in their homes, were using the sitting room area in a house owned by one of the women.
We were 15 women, but we couldn't all fit at the same time. So we had to let one group come and that group come the other day because the house was so small.
The small size of the house and the fact that they had only 3 sewing machines amongst the group meant this impacted on the income that they could generate. The airport came in and supplied a specially fitted out mobile structure with a kitchen, ablution facilities, a fitting room, as well as 15 additional sewing machines and other sewing equipment.
The municipality then played a role in facilitating that this container was located on municipal property, where we've then provided the water and the sewage and the electricity type of arrangements to enable this whole process to take place in a secure environment.
This project is Airports Company South Africa's commitment to women empowerment through revenue generation programs.
And it's a gift that keeps on giving. So it's a gift that they could pass the skills down to their kids and the grandkids in the neighborhood.
The next phase for this project is to provide training for the women to be professional seamstresses so that they can be able to compete favorably with other professionals. In Bloemfontein, Brown Fisher International Airport's main project began in a tiny shack in the crime-ridden township of Mangaung. Metsing Nursery School had 42 children aged between 6 months and 5 years old. During heavy rains, the school's shack leaked and was not safe for the children.
Jwale ka 2016 Krisi ya rona ile yawa ke lerwele ho nona le moya o mongata yaba yawa yaba ka mora mo nono Krisi ha se ba ikgutlisetsa madulong a yona ha isa tshwana le pele.
Like many similar creches around South Africa, Metsing offered a vital service for the surrounding community, but did not meet the most basic standards of the Department of Social Development.
Ntlha e nngwe hape e kgolokgolo ke ya di-toilet. Bana ba rona ba sebedisa dilopemere tse nyenyana tse leng hore social development hanana le tsona ho han le nna ha ke kgone ho di utlwisisa empa ba di sebedisa hobane ke ho fihlella moo matla rona a fihlelletseng teng. Empa ho hang ha ba tlameha ho ba sebedise ntho tse bana ba hloka di-toilet ba hloka ho toilet tsa bona di be hantle di be skoon ho bona ha le hore ke di-toilet ba be free ha ba ya mane.
When Brown Fisher Airport heard about the situation, they stepped in to help. A few months later, the new prefab classrooms were waiting to be fitted out. Opening day was attended by the airport's team, dignitaries from the Department of Social Development and many others. The air of excitement was tangible.
What are you having?
Airport, go ahead and
Brown Fisher Airport's volunteers had risen to the challenge. A once struggling nursery school in a shack was now a facility that could serve the community with pride.
Metsing City Center e qadile ka 2015. Inele mikhukhu ena ine inela empa ka lebaka la hore ke ne ke na le passion ya seo ke se etsang hanka ba ka fela matla.
The centre now has 3 classrooms, ablution facilities, a sick bay and office. The early childhood development practitioners will go through formal training to help improve the level of teaching at the centre.
This partnership with AXA has yielded very great results. As we are today, we are opening the Metsing Early Childhood Development, which is going to have an impact on the lives of the young ones.
The impact that the improvements will have on the children will be realised in the years to come.
We've got about in total 400 stakeholders and employees working at the airport coming from this community. And for us to be in that position to contribute for them is also a blessing.
In the meantime, the parents are delighted.
Ke ikutlwa ke thabile haholo ha o molemo a kena Krisi mona Metsing ibile ha thabela ho ya ke sa motsotso se.
Cape Town International Airport has for the past few years been planning the runway expansion program. The challenge was informal settlements had sprung up close to the land on which the extensions were to be built. The airport master plan includes building additional runways and increasing the size of the terminal buildings to cater for growing number of visitors in the future. Poverty, crime and unemployment in the area are rife, and the expansion plans were destined to run head-on into resistance. The airport decided to engage with the community to see if both parties could benefit from the expansion.
We want to create a legacy that is sustainable. Yes, it's about an airport and expanding on airport and creating economic opportunities, but it's also making sure that there are home and housing opportunities so people can work, they can live, and they live in formal housing.
AXA came up with ideas, and then we rejected some ideas, and then we said to AXA, listen, this is what we actually want. And they were marvelous in a way in saying, okay, this is what we got now. And that is exactly what we wanted, you know. And then from there we had to bring this whole project to the community, explain to the community what the future will entail, what they need to do, whatever. And they accepted it with open arms.
The discussions led to long-term socio-economic development projects with False Bay and Northlink colleges. Members of the community were trained in construction skills. For the selected students, the course represented an opportunity to take control of their own futures.
Xa ndijongile ngoku ndingathi ndinawo amathuba aninzi okufumana umsebenzi ngenxa yoba ndinazo iimpepha zokuqala.
Ngoku ngcono ngoku ndizawukhangela umsebenzi ndisebenze ndiprovide nasekhaya nomntanam yonke into izawukwenzeka ngoku.
On graduation day, the successful students received certificates that will open doors for them. The company made a donation towards the establishment of a youth soccer club to help address some of the social challenges in the community. The project East London Airport designed was one that would truly give flight to dreams. The nature of Airports Company South Africa's business means we require staff with good qualifications in maths, science and technology. This is why so many of our SED projects in schools focus on these subjects. When East London Airport started at Umtiza High, the school was in desperate trouble with its maths and science pass rate. Like many other schools, it had a problem with overcrowding.
Numbers like more than 50 in a class, 70, 80 in a classroom. You can imagine that. A teacher doesn't even have a breathing space. He will just stand in front of, just in front of the board, not being able to, move around the classroom as required for best practices in teaching.
2 classrooms were built and a teacher learning and development program was introduced. Extra classes were also conducted on Saturdays and holidays in maths, science and accounting. As most of the learners come from impoverished families, meals were also provided.
I would say it means a little bit of eradication of poverty, because some of them are coming from destitute family backgrounds. Now that there is this, additional job, it means a lot to them. Over the past 3 years, we've been performing at 55, 53%. We anticipate further improved performance. We have already seen that in accounting, because as of last year, it was around about 73% performance.
Airports Company South Africa decided to take the Dondashi High project a step further and extend it to Umtiza High in East London, as well as Walmer High in Port Elizabeth. A competition was arranged between these 3 Eastern Cape schools to give high achievers the wings to dream.
Sizithe intombi. Ke ngoku intombi ikhethiwe. Iya eGauteng. Hayi.
A few months later, the top maths and science achievers couldn't wait to get on board.
All I can say is I'm very excited and thank you to AXA for the opportunity to go on a flight.
Not one amongst them had ever been on a plane before. The long-term vision for this project is that if these children excel academically, some of them might choose aviation careers. Upon reaching Johannesburg, the learners were taken on a whirlwind aviation careers tour. At SAA Technical, they were given a behind-the-scenes look at what goes on to ensure aircraft are safe in the sky. At the Air Force Museum, they learnt about the history of aviation in South Africa. Next stop was the Police Air Wing to meet some inspirational figures. The Civil Aviation Authority gave them the lowdown on career opportunities in the aviation field.
As well. Then that's when I studied my project management.
The tour was rounded off with a visit to air traffic control. In keeping with our socio-economic development objectives, all our projects are aimed at creating meaningful and sustainable opportunities for people in historically disadvantaged communities. By empowering communities, we help alleviate poverty and contribute to the growth of our economy. The projects you have seen are just a small sample of the many success stories that we continue to build around our airports. Our socio-economic development strategy is an integral component of the way we conduct our business. To this end, Airports Company South Africa is proud of the impact these projects have had on our company reputation, brand awareness, and our country.